And on Two Wheels this week, more chat from Jeff and Australian bike racer Dean Thomas. We'll see how Sarah D got along test riding Yamaha's Virango. But first, Wayne and I back at this year's Trade Expo for some more of the latest gadgets and gizmos.
Welcome back to our second visit for the Trade Expo 2001. The only thing is I can't get in. Excuse me, I don't suppose... Hello? Hello?
Okay, I know it's not got two wheels, it's actually got four wheels, but I've just got to show you this if I can just stay on it. It's absolutely wacky. It's a Rhino board, that's what it's called, a Rhino board, all the way from Korea and brought into the UK now by a company called Euro Wheels. It's a kind of motorised skateboard, probably more like a snowboard actually. If you're probably good at snowboarding, you'd have half a chance on this thing. But you've got nothing to hang on to apart from this, which is on like a flexible cable. And you've got a throttle there and a brake there, and that just brakes the back wheels. 33cc motor down there, little fuel tank on the back, take you for about 45 miles, and it's good for just over 20 miles an hour. You can get them very, very soon in the UK, and they're expected to cost you about £700. But you need a good set of body armour, and you'd have to be extremely brave.
Right, next time you go into your dealership and make a request for a hugger like this, for a Fireblade or an R1 or whatever it is you want, in a particular colour, and he says, sorry mate, we ain't got one in stock, but we'll get you one, understand why he doesn't stock it. I'll tell you what it is, it's the product range and the application and colourways. I mean, for example, look at this lot. It's a massive list of all sorts of things that the dealer could potentially stock. Costs a fortune. Pyramid Plastics here do absolutely everything in the way of plastics. We've got these huggers, under trays, little pieces to go on your yokes even, extenders, bits to go on the top of your seat to make it sporter, screens for example, you name it, they do it. So it's an awful lot of products for a dealer to stock, so he doesn't stock it. You tell him what you want, he orders it and gets it in a few days. But talking about ordering it, can I perhaps put you down for a couple of thousand, maybe just one of each colour or something like that? No? All right then, bollocks to you.
Now, this being a trade show, there are certain things here that are only available to the trade, this being one of them. The Cat Green book, you can only have this if you're in the trade. Ever wondered when you walk into a bike showroom and you park up your Pride and Joy all polished up lovely and clean and fully serviced, and you say, how much is this worth against that? And they go like this and they start thumbing through this little book. Well, this is the book that they use to do it with. It's a price guide. Now, if you wanted to know the price of used bikes, perhaps you were looking for something second-hand, you'd buy your Auto Trader or even your motorcycle mags, and you get a used price guide at the back of them very often. Well, this goes quite a few stages further. All the prices, of course, but all the spec on every bike, when they change colour, all the different model changes throughout the years, absolutely everything. And this really is the dealer's Bible. And they pay for it as well. A dealer will pay about £120 a year to subscribe to this. I don't really know why I'm telling you, because you can't have one unless you're in the trade.
Pretty tasty, aren't they? Very fancy. In fact, there's an awful lot of fancy products here at the Trade Expo. And in fact, Paul has got a fancy product round the corner, a nice fancy jacket. You all right, mate? Ignorant sod.
I have indeed found a fancy jacket, this one here. It's called a Volt jacket from the Dutch company Revit. Now, it might look a bit plain to start with, but if you're going into a bike shop and you're looking for clothing, there'll be a few different criteria that jacket might have to meet. You might say, well, it needs to have body armour in it. It needs to have reflective piping. I need to be able to fasten it to my leather jeans. Well, let's see how we go with this. Body armour, yeah, we've got the body armour, but there's no reflective piping, is there? There's a reflective logo thing on the back there, so that will shine in the light, and there's some on the arms there. That's all reflective, so people will see you in the headlights. But there's nothing on the front, or so you think. Well, that's where you're wrong, because here, on the shoulders, behind that panel, is a reflective material, so that and that will light up, and it's carried right across to the back as well. So they'll certainly see you coming. And I say, you might think it looks a bit plain, but that's because it's been very, very cleverly put together. It's got no pockets, you might say. Where's the pockets? Well, they're here. Very cleverly hidden there behind that little Velcro strip there, and the zip there for the pocket. All Velcros up and looks very neat. You want to fasten it to your jeans. Well, there's no elastic at the back or anything, so it's not going to fit very well. Well, you're wrong again, because there's the elastic hidden there by that flap. And there's a zip there, so go right round your jeans, zip it to your jeans, and there's even a little clip there, so that if you do go out in a pair of denims, which we always say you shouldn't do, but you could actually fasten that to the top of your belt clips on your denims. So there you go. It's called a Volt. It'll cost you 250 quid. And would you believe it? It's just my size.
Now this particular display, which has got just about everything for the motorcyclist, belongs to a company called Fowler's. Fowler's of Bristol. Now you may know Fowler's as the motorcycle shop people. Well, it's the same concern, but they've been distributors and importers for years and years, doing all sorts of different products and different brands. They do BFE helmets, Kiwi helmets, Jebs helmets. They do Prexport products, gloves and boots and everything else. But they also do Boss exhausts, and that is exactly what this is. Boss Tattle. Do you remember when Paul was at the Street Fighter show and showing you the Street Fighter machines, and he did a feature on an R1 with an undersea exhaust system? Beautiful, but a handcrafted thing that must have took hours and hours to do, and very, very costly. Well, Boss Exhaust have gone and produced exactly that, an undersea exhaust system for your R1, and I believe for many other different machines. It comes up here and goes under the seat. They include the seat piece as well, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And I really want you to have a look at the back end. Now stand out of the way and just check out them exhaust systems. Granted, it ain't cheap at 1,300 quid, but hey, it's beautiful, and I'm sure it's worth every penny.
Oh, this is lovely, this, on a cold day like this. Heated grips, eh? What's the special about that? Well, not a lot really. We've all seen heated grips before, nothing new in that, but you've never seen any like this. These are from Giali. 50 quid will get you these. Look at that, they just wrap round with Velcro. What a good idea. Dead easy. So there's your summer riding. Wrap them over like that for the winter, and it connects to your battery. What you could also do, you could even buy another set, and you could put them round the grab rail at the back, couldn't you? So your pillion could hold on to something like that. So even your pillion can have warm hands, eh? They think of everything. I do have to say though that I think it's a little bit of a security risk on there. So they'd get nicked dead easy, wouldn't they? Because that's it, gone. So you'd have to take them off, tuck them away under your seat somewhere. But 50 quid, a great idea.
Aye, you've spotted something there, haven't you? Hey, they're impressive, aren't they? Hologramic lens motocross goggles from Scott. And this is a Scott product, and on this stand, which is the Burt Harkins racing stand, there's just about every different shape, size of off-road product, because Burt is an ace off-roader, an ex-world-class speedway rider as well, and I remember watching him even in my day, many, many years ago. And one of the brands that he imports and distributes is this, Acertis, Acertis, call it what you want. It's Italian. They do plastic mouldings in every shape, form for off-road machinery. This is a knuckle guard. But they've obviously got some very innovative ideas of style and presence and the fantastic good-looking stuff because they're Italian. So why on earth have they produced this? A Paddington Bear Wellington boot. Well, it isn't actually. It's a great idea. Strange that it might look, it's actually a Wellington overboot for an enduro or motocross or even trials boot. Waterproof. So if you're an enduro rider and you're going through a stream in the morning, the rest of the day your feet are warm and dry. Marvellous idea, even if it does look a bit poo. Then you can just wipe your brow if you've got a hard day at the office, under the lights, with all the stress of being a TV presenter. Oh, it's hard work. But you finish the day off because you go for the weekend jaunt away. So you get your kit bag, throw it all in here, and you go on your jollies.
Ooh, it's me all along. Gloves, yes, we all need to wear gloves. Never ever go out on your bike, your scooter, without a pair of gloves. You fall off, you'll have no fingers left, you'll have no skin left, simple as that. So you must wear a pair of gloves. Well, there's lots of fancy gloves about today, as we know, and many of them look like this. Sort of racing style glove. Very nice, very, very comfy, but with these carbon fibre inserts. And lots of gloves, as I say, have carbon fibre. Now, a pair like that will cost you 60 quid. Well, there's something new now from Revit, this Mach 4 glove. And instead of carbon fibre, we've got this metal. It is actually metal, it's like a woven metal mesh. And that's not easy to say. Just as abrasive resistant, just as impact resistant, it'll protect you if you fall off. And again, a very nice fit. And would you believe, even cheaper than the carbon fibre? That was 60 quid. A pair like this, the Mach 4, just 45 quid. Not bad, eh? In fact, I think they've got another pair just like this somewhere. I'll go and find them.
So I've met this fella here that's smaller than me, but he would be really because it's only his head. And unfortunately it is a fella because I kissed it earlier on and I could tell, you know, the taste. But it's strange that, isn't it? And you'd think, oh, that would be nice on my bike. Well, no. This is made by a company called Helmet Integrated Systems, and they're the only one company in the whole of the UK that produces crash helmets, and they do it for just about everybody. Your firemen, your pilots, your helicopter pilots, just about everybody. It's high-tech stuff. Well, obviously it is. I mean, this is a one with the old black visor and the microphone for in the jet fighter and so on. But they've gone into the helmets for you, the motorcycle user. They've done them for an awful long time. A lot of rally drivers use them, and you, the road bike rider, can use them as well. But they're now using their innovative ideas and their technology to produce this, a brand new one. Now, it's going to be available in the shops in April, and it'll be just over £200, but it's going to be obviously very, very high tech.
Wow, look at this lot now. I'm not actually choosing the cloth for a new suit, but would you believe these are all different types of material available for motorcycle covers? Because there's quite a lot of technology involved in a bike cover, would you believe? And there's a couple of important points that you need to remember if you're buying a cover to protect your machine. First of all, you need to make sure it fits. You can't just walk into a bike shop and say, I want a bike cover, mate, and throw it over. It might not fit. Some of them, like this one up here, will only fit scooters. That one's actually shaped and it'll fit a scooter perfectly well. And then there are other sizes for your mid-range bikes, right up to one that's like a huge marquee that you could fit a Honda Goldwing in, massive big thing. But a couple of things to remember, as I say, make sure it fits, and also make sure you pick the one that's made from the cloth that does the job you need it to do. Some of them won't scratch your tank. You can put it over a tank even when there's dust on the tank, and they've got qualities in the backing which stop the dust from actually scratching the tank. And perhaps the most important thing is make sure you get one that's heat resistant, because there's nothing more frustrating than driving up your drive and then having to wait half an hour for your bike to cool down before you throw your cover over it, because the cover's going to melt on the exhaust. So spend a few more quid and get something that does the job well.
So anyway, I can't believe it. I said I'll do you a really, really good deal. And you know, he was a right miserable. Blimey, Charlie, how are you? Ah, yes, you've caught me on the hop there. So, yes, Jivvy. This is the Jivvy range of luggage. And these guys are infamous for doing everything you need to carry something on your machine. Famous for their huge boxes in every shape, colour, size to fit everything. And they're going to release this, a brand new box. This particular one's in blue, but you can rest assured, whatever colour bike you've got, they'll do a colour match to match it, and that will finish off any bike beautifully. It's gorgeous, streamlined and everything. Brand new at the show, just launched here, brought to you on 2 wheels, exclusively. Oh, I sound like a salesman, don't I?
Well, we've brought you lots of new things here at the Trade Expo this year, lots of new and innovative things that you've probably never seen before, and some things that aren't even on the shelves in the shops yet. And even Wayne's been busy, he's been taking orders, hasn't he, today?
Selling so much stuff, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've sold like a wheel with a nearly new tyre on it, and some tools, screwdriver and a socket set and that.
Have you? What, not in here?
No, not in here, in the car park outside. You left your boot on, by the way.
You cheeky. You know, I knew Wayne had been to a car boot sale as soon as I looked at his shirt. But as you can see, Trade Expo is a huge event. And rest assured, 2 Wheels will be back there next year to bring you more of the latest trick bits from the world of motorcycling. But coming up next, this week after the break, more chat from Jeff and Australian bike racer Dean Thomas as they share a coffee in Italy. And we'll join lady biker Sarah D as she takes a second-hand Virango for a test ride. On 2 Wheels last week, we met female biker Sarah D as she searched for a custom cruiser. Yamaha's 535 seemed to take her fancy, so we'll join her now for a test ride.
The Yamaha Virango has been around a number of years. Even with the new styling, it may seem outdated by other cruisers now, but it's still a favourite no-fuss bike. The spec sheet is nothing to write home about. 45 bhp won't rip your arms off, but gives enough power to cope with most situations. Its long-term popularity is probably due to being a really user-friendly and well-balanced machine. Even with a pillion rider, the steering still feels positive. you don't lose control of the front wheel, unlike some other machines in its class. As you can probably tell, I've had a brilliant, beautiful ride on this, the Virango. Well, I bought it second hand, so I've got a few optional extras that you don't usually get as standard. I've got a nice backrest here with a rack. Also, I'm sure this doesn't come as standard, a solid back wheel here. And the V-twin, single exhaust, and this one is actually a dummy. I've been writing about this one is stone cold, but it helps to maintain the classic design of a cruiser. It's brilliant. And at the front here, on the disc brake, I've got a gorgeous chrome cover. So it looks like I've saved myself a few pennies by getting second hand because I've got a few optional extras. So what do you get on the Virango as standard? Well, you get a single disc brake at the front, nice drum brake at the back, just the one speedo with no rev counter, and the usual warning lights, high beam, neutral, turn. At a glance, you can see what you're doing there. Some nice swept-back bars, which gives a really nice, comfortable riding position. Okay, it's no Harley Davidson. Even the sound of the Virango is like a kitten in comparison. But when it comes to street cred, it can still hold its own in the looks department. It's not the most agile of machines when it comes to twisty country lanes. If that's what you're after, buy a sports bike. The 182 kilogram Virango handles well when commuting through town, and on long journeys you'll have an easy-going, comfortable ride. Okay, it's a standard bike. It hasn't got all the gadgets and gizmos that a lot of people like, but it does the job for me. I've got a 250-mile drive to go and see my folks. This bike will cope with that, no problem. It's also going to be a comfortable ride when I'm commuting through traffic in town. It's a low maintenance bike. It's a shaft drive, so no more lubricating the chain or making sure your belt's still up to scratch. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but for £2,000 you could do a lot worse.
I think we can assume that Sarah is quite keen on Yamaha's Virango. Coming up next, some more chat from Jeff and Dean Thomas in Italy.
You're with D&E now, and how did that start? When did you come to them?
This year,
Yeah.
2000 is the first year I've ridden for D&E Ducati.
Yeah.
I've known Enzo over the last 2 or 3 years through the previous teams I'd ridden for. My options were I could sign for a Honda team or possibly the Ducati team. And knowing what Enzo's like and how much heart he puts into his race teams, I looked at that and thought that'd be definitely the best option for me. And as it's turned out, it definitely was.
Some riders have had a problem swapping from a 4 to a V-twin. Have you had that problem?
No, not at all. I had the opposite, to be honest. The V-twin really suits my riding style. It suits me down to the ground. And I struggled before with the V4s, well, not so much the V4s, the straight 4s.
Yeah.
Trying to change the way the bikes are, trying to sort of move the power characteristic down further, a lot like a V-twin.
Yeah.
And I never realised what I was actually looking for until I got on the V-twin.
Really? And so you really do feel totally at home?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It suits my riding style incredibly,
Yeah.
to the point that I'm so happy on Ducati, I don't really want to go and ride anything else, so, which is a bit of a problem in a way, I suppose. But no, I've really enjoyed it this year, and I can't wait for next season to start.
Yeah, so this year I followed your sort of progress, and you were doing incredibly well at one time, and you were second, weren't you, for quite a part of the season?
Yeah, we did well in the first sort of 2/3 of the season. We had a little bit of bad luck towards the end. A few little teething problems, a few little things went wrong, to be expected with a new bike and a new team.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall as a basis, the year was good. We ended up third in the championship, a fairly comfortable third. I mean, we can't really complain for the first year together.
And Enzo was pretty happy with that anyway, wasn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Which neatly brings me on. What about your plans for next year, 2001? Well, what are you doing?
It's still sort of going through the motions at the moment. We should know in the next sort of 48 hours, hopefully. But definitely Ducati.
Yeah.
Definitely for D&E Racing.
Yeah. It's just the old sponsorship being
Yeah,
sewed up, is
exactly.
it? Yeah.
Exactly. We have an option already on British Superbike, which isn't a problem. We have the sponsorship deal for that through Motorola to do that.
Yeah.
But it is fairly likely we will be doing World Supersport by the looks of it.
Yeah.
So hopefully in the next 2 days we'll get the nod from Motorola. We already have the backing for Ducati to do it, and we can go and travel around the world and do the series.
You must be looking forward to that.
I am. Yeah, I can't wait.
Because Casoli's now moved over, has he?
As far as I know, yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like Casoli is moving on to another manufacturer.
Yeah.
So it's left a few doors open, which is great for me. It gives me the opportunity to step in.
Yeah.
It's also great for the D&E team. It's given them a chance to move in and take some fairly serious factory help from Ducati.
Yeah.
And it should be a good season. I can't wait.
Fantastic. And tell me, on a personal level, are you married? I'm not about to proposition you.
Yes, married. Yeah, married to Karen, an Australian girl.
Is she over in the UK or what?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're both based in the UK.
Yeah.
Karen's been over here with me for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
She likes the scene.
Yeah.
She can't really put up with the weather in England very much, but I think she's quite pleased that
Yeah,
we're going
because
to move
she's
on.
Italian, isn't she?
She is, yes.
So you got this Italian thing now, haven't you?
Yeah,
Ducati
Italian,
and
Australian.
everywhere. Yeah. And where do you see your home? Is it UK or is it really back in Oz in the sunshine?
In the long run, my home will be in Australia. I can see myself possibly moving to Italy now and
Yeah.
living over here for a couple of years.
And putting up with this weather? Yeah.
Definitely. This is more the weather I'm used to. But you know, when it's all over, I think definitely I'll end up back in Australia. I mean, I love Australia.
Yeah.
You know, it's the place that I want to sort of
Retire to?
basically stay for the rest of my life there. So I'll find a nice warm part of Australia that I'm happy with and set up home there.
Excellent. Well, in the meantime, we'll look forward to seeing you doing your stuff on the world circuit.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And on Two Wheels next week, Jeff rides the very latest retro offering from Triumph, the new Bonneville. And Wayne gets his feet wet on his annual jaunt to the Sheffield Arena for some amazing trials action.